This is the only video you need to watch if you want to learn how to make a Martinez cocktail at home. My name is Ron Virpin. I'm a full-time medical doctor, and I've been a home bartender for over 5 years now. During that time, I've learned how to make over 100 different cocktails, and I've thrown over 50 cocktail parties. And I teach other busy professionals how to make cocktails at home. And in this video, I'll be showing you all how to make the Martinez. Now, the Martinez, as you can tell by its name, it's very similar to the Martini. And like the Martini, it is a classic cocktail. The exact origins are unclear, but it's thought to have come around in the late 1800s, which actually makes this one of the oldest cocktails in the entire world of cocktails and mixology. And it's actually thought to be, it's actually thought of as a precursor in a lot of ways to the Martini. It is part of that same family along with the Martini and its other relatives. A lot of them I've already made on this channel, including the Martini, the Manhattan, the Negroni, the Old Pal, and the Boulevardier. And like those drinks, the Martinez is in the same family, and it also contains, and all of those drinks, including the Martinez, contain three primary components. Those components are going to be a liquor, a vermouth, and then a bitter component. And the Martinez is actually unique, although it is older than pretty much all of those drinks. It actually contains a fourth element, which is going to be a small component of a liqueur, which is represented by the maraschino liqueur here. So let's get into making the drink. It's going to call for these four ingredients here. It is going to be a stirred drink as well because none of the ingredients are fruit juice, sweetener like syrup, dairy, or egg. They all contain just alcoholic ingredients. So it's going to be a stirred cocktail, just like the other members of the same family of cocktails like the Martini and the Manhattan. So let's get into making the drink. Like I said, the exact ingredients are going to be gin, sweet vermouth, maraschino liqueur, and then orange bitters. For the exact bottles that I'm going to be using, for the gin, I have Beefeater gin. This is the standard workhorse gin that I recommend to all home bartenders, especially beginner home bartenders. It's readily available, is affordable, and works in a wide variety of classic and even modern classic and craft cocktails as well. For the sweet vermouth, we're going to be using Dolan. Dolan is my go-to brand these days for both sweet and dry vermouth. It's the one that I recommend as well because like Beefeater gin, it's also affordable and readily available throughout the United States and other parts of the Western world as well. For the maraschino liqueur, there are several brands out there, but actually the only brand that I've used throughout my entire home bartending journey is is Luxardo maraschino liqueur. This is a little bit on the pricier end, but one way you can get around that is actually to go ahead, like I did here, and purchase the 375 ml bottle as opposed to the 750 ml bottle. Most drinks that do contain maraschino liqueur, which is mainly classic cocktails like this one, the Martinez, and also the Hemingway daiquiri, and the last word as well. They all contain just small components of this liqueur, so you don't need to go ahead and necessarily buy a 750 ml bottle. I had one at one point, and it honestly lasted me for like, I don't know, at least 2 years. I think even longer than that actually. So you can go ahead and just purchase this 375 ml bottle as a way to get around the extra cost of the Luxardo. And then finally, for the last component, that's going to be orange bitters, and the bottle that I'm going to be using is Regan's. There are three orange bitters that I always recommend. One is going to be this one, Regan's. Then the other two are Fee Brothers and Angostura orange bitters. They're all great and work in a wide variety of classic and modern classic cocktails as well. So for the actual recipe and the measurements of the ingredients, this drink is going to call for 1.5 ounces of gin, 1.5 ounces of sweet vermouth, 1 bar spoon of the maraschino liqueur, and then 2 dashes of orange bitters. So in a lot of ways, the actual recipe is pretty similar to the other components of this family, like the Martini and the Manhattan. It calls for 2 dashes of bitters, same as the Martini or the Manhattan, and then it contains 3 ounces of a combination of the gin or the liquor and the vermouth. The main difference is in those other two cocktails, the Martini and the Manhattan, they do 2 ounces of liquor and then 1 ounce of sweet vermouth or dry vermouth. This one is different because it actually does equal parts. It does 1.5 ounces each of the gin and the sweet vermouths, of the liquor and the vermouth. And then the addition is just a tiny component, a bar spoon. You can actually do either a bar spoon or a teaspoon. If you don't have a measuring bar spoon, you can just use a teaspoon as well. So a small component of the maraschino liqueur that adds a little bit more complexity and flavor to the drink. So let's go ahead and start making the drink. This drink is a stirred drink, and I like to do stirred drinks always built directly into the glass. Before I put the ice in, I'm going to put the smaller components of the drink first to ensure that they get in the bottom of the drink and they don't just sit on top of the ice. So 2 dashes of orange bitters to start it off. 1, 2. And then the other small component is going to be a bar spoon or teaspoon of the maraschino liqueur. So there's a teaspoon of that. Then before we put the bigger components, which are going to be the 1.5 ounces each of gin and sweet vermouth, we can go ahead and put the ice in the bottom of the glass. I have the larger cubed ice here from my Cocktail Kingdom ice cube tray. So now we have the ice in there, 1.5 ounces of gin. And then finally, 1.5 ounces of sweet vermouth. Now we have all the components in the glass, including the ice. We're going to go ahead and start stirring. And no hard and fast rule on how much you should stir. It's basically you want to stir this down until you start to see some frost or chill on the side of the glass, and you can feel it as well. So now the glass is starting to chill. I would say we're done right about there. And there you have it, the Martinez. Cheers. And the really unique thing about this is the addition of the liqueur. Although it's a very small component, just a bar spoon, it does actually add a lot of flavor and complexity to the drink. So I do recommend you guys all, especially if you're interested in classic cocktails, especially if you love other drinks in this family like the martini and the Manhattan, go ahead and make the Martinez as well. It's a nice variation. And actually it's a precursor because it's an older drink than those other ones. Anyways, that's all I have for today's video. If you found the advice helpful, and if you found this tutorial helpful, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I really like to do 2 styles of videos on this channel. One will be like this type of video where I do a tutorial on how to make a specific cocktail. And then the second style of video will be where I give general tips and tricks and share advice and stories from my own journey that I hope will help you guys become better home bartenders. Thank you. Cheers.